Life is a beautiful gift, but it is also fleeting. Often, when we look back, the one thing that haunts us is regret. Regret over words left unsaid, actions left undone, dreams left unpursued. But what if I told you that regret is not inevitable? That there is a way to live such that when you look back, you feel peace and fulfillment instead of guilt. It begins with awareness. Awareness that every moment matters. Every choice, every action, every word, every smile. You are writing the story of your life with these small decisions. If you neglect them, you leave gaps, and those gaps turn into regrets. Imagine life as a canvas. If you paint only a small corner and leave the rest blank, later, you will stare at the empty spaces, wishing you had filled them. But if you paint intentionally, with love and courage, your canvas will tell a story you can be proud of. So, what do you do instead of leaving room for regret? First, act with intention. Don't postpone love. Don't delay appreciation, and don't wait to chase your dreams. Speak the words that matter. Apologize where needed. Forgive where possible. And above all, live in alignment with your values, because actions aligned with your values leave no room for regret. Secondly, embrace courage. Fear often keeps us from doing what we know in our heart is right. The courage to step forward, to take a risk, to speak your truth, these are the antidotes to regret. Life rewards bravery more than perfection. And finally, cultivate gratitude and presence. Regret grows from comparison, envy, and living in the past or future. Gratitude and mindfulness anchor you in the moment, helping you act wisely, love fully, and live completely. In the end, the question is simple. Will you let life happen to you, or will you live it consciously, leaving no space for regret? Every day is a chance to choose. Every moment is a chance to act. Don't leave room for regret. Fill your life with courage, purpose, and love. Life is fleeting. This is not just a phrase, it is one of the deepest truths of existence. Every single moment that passes is a moment that will never come back. It doesn't matter if it was a morning spent sipping coffee, a conversation with a friend, or simply sitting quietly watching the clouds drift by. Once it's gone forever. The irony is that we often treat life as if it will last forever. We postpone, delay, and procrastinate, thinking we will have another chance, another day, another opportunity. But the truth is, no one is guaranteed tomorrow. Life doesn't promise us an extension. And that is exactly why every moment matters. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you thought, I'll tell them I love them tomorrow, or I'll start chasing my dream next week? These are moments you intended to use wisely, yet they slipped away unnoticed. And slowly, day by day, they accumulate into a life half lived. When we look back, we don't regret the things we did and failed at. We regret the things we never dared to do. This is the subtle but painful way life reminds us that time is precious and every moment counts. The fleeting nature of life teaches us an important lesson. Awareness is everything. When you become aware of how short and unpredictable life is, you begin to appreciate the significance of the present. Even the simplest things, a kind word, a smile, a phone call, a hug, suddenly gain meaning. When you understand that time is the only resource you can never reclaim, you start valuing it in ways you never did before. You begin to see the wasted hours scrolling mindlessly on social media, worrying about things you cannot control, or delaying important conversations as precious time lost. One way to truly understand the fleeting nature of life is to watch a child grow. A baby is born, and in what seems like an instant, they are running, talking, and exploring the world. The days feel long, but the years vanish in a blink. Parents often look back in astonishment, realizing that the moments they thought were ordinary, the first laugh, the first steps in the bedtime stories, were actually extraordinary. Life passes like this for all of us. What feels endless today will one day be a memory. And if we don't pay attention, it will be a memory tinged with regret. Moreover, life is fleeting, not only in the span of years, but in the opportunities it presents. Every moment carries with it a unique set of circumstances that may never come again. That conversation you were hesitant to have, that chance to say, thank you, or I'm sorry, that opportunity to follow a passion, once the moment passes, it cannot be recreated. And often, it is not a lack of ability or courage that causes regret, but simply neglecting the present. Life doesn't wait for us to feel ready. It moves forward relentlessly, whether we engage with it or not. To truly honor the fleeting nature of life, we must start by living intentionally. This means being present in every interaction, appreciating every small joy, and embracing the opportunities that come our way. It means breaking the habit of postponement and understanding that today is all we truly have. When we live with this awareness, we stop taking time for granted. We start treating each moment as sacred, and the regrets of I should have gradually disappear because we have chosen to act while we can. In essence, recognizing the fleeting nature of life is a call to wake up, to participate fully in our own existence, and to make every day count. Life is too short to leave love unsaid, kindness undone, or dreams unpursued. Each moment is a gift, and when we cherish it, we not only prevent regrets, but create a life rich in meaning, purpose, and joy. Regret is often described as a feeling that quietly gnaws at the heart, a shadow that lingers long after the moment has passed. But what many of us fail to realize is that regret rarely comes from the mistakes we make when we act. Life is surprisingly forgiving of errors if we try, if we engage, if we step forward. No, the deepest, most haunting regrets come from inaction, the things we didn't say the opportunities we didn't take, the relationships we didn't nurture, and the dreams we didn't pursue. Inaction leaves a void in the soul, a silent question that never finds an answer, and it is this emptiness that eventually becomes regret. Consider for a moment the words you never said. How many times have you held back a compliment, a thank you, or a heartfelt confession because you were afraid, shy, or waiting for the right time. Perhaps you meant to tell someone how much they mattered to you, but days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into years. Later, when circumstances change, when people drift apart, or when life takes them away, those unsaid words become a heavy burden. It is not the mistakes we made that we remember most vividly. It is the silence, the hesitation, the "I should have said that." This is the quiet cruelty of inaction. Inaction also extends to the opportunities we avoid. How many times have we seen a chance to pursue a passion, take a risk, or start a new journey and held back out of fear or doubt? Often we tell ourselves, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'm not ready yet," only to find that tomorrow never comes in the form we imagined. The missed opportunities build a silent narrative in our mind, the life we could have had but didn't. Interestingly, most people remember these moments not with frustration over the attempt, but with sorrow over not even trying. Regret is rarely about failing. It is about not stepping forward at all. Relationships, too, are a fertile ground for regret when inaction rules our choices. How many friendships faded because we never reached out? How many conflicts escalated because we avoided difficult conversations? How many parents, siblings, or partners felt neglected because we assumed they would always be there? Life does not wait, and people do not stay forever. When we fail to act with love, kindness, and courage in our relationships, we plant the seeds of regret that grow quietly but relentlessly, often years later. What makes inaction so powerful is that it leaves unanswered questions. The human mind struggles more with what ifs than with actual mistakes. When we take action and fail, we can at least understand why things happened. But when we do nothing, we are left with endless speculation, imagining all the possible outcomes and wondering if life would have been different. This is why people often say that the things they regret most in life are the things they never dared to attempt, rather than the things they tried and failed at. Breaking the habit of inaction requires awareness and courage. It requires recognizing that life is short and that opportunities once missed may never return. It requires the willingness to speak difficult truths, take meaningful risks, and pursue dreams even in the face of uncertainty. Every small act of courage, every word spoken, every step forward reduces the room for future regret. In essence, regret is a teacher, but a harsh one. It shows us that life does not reward hesitation. The antidote is simple yet powerful. Act intentionally. Speak boldly, love freely, and pursue passionately. When we embrace action over inaction, we not only minimize future regrets, but create a life of fulfillment, courage, and authenticity. After all, it is better to fail after trying than to succeed only in imagination. Acting with intention is one of the most powerful tools we have to live a life without regrets. Too often, we move through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances, following routines, and letting external pressures dictate our decisions. we wake up, go to work, scroll through social media, interact on autopilot, and go to bed only to repeat the cycle the next day. In such a life, days, months, and years slip by, and before we know it, we look back and wonder, where did all the time go? What have I really achieved? The truth is, living unconsciously is the breeding ground for regret, because our lives are being shaped by others or by circumstance, rather than by our own values and choices. To act with intention means to wake up every day with clarity about who you are, what matters to you, and what kind of life you want to create. It is about making conscious choices instead of mindless reactions. When you live intentionally, every decision, big or small, becomes a reflection of your inner values. Choosing to help someone in need, speaking truth even when it is uncomfortable, prioritizing time with loved ones over distractions, or dedicating energy to your passion. These are examples of intentional living. Each intentional act is like placing a brick on the foundation of a life that is meaningful and regret-free. Consider the difference between a life of routine and a life of intention through a simple analogy. Imagine two gardeners tending to their gardens. One walks through daily, watering plants randomly, occasionally pulling weeds, sometimes adding fertilizer, but mostly reacting to what happens naturally. The second gardener approaches the garden with a plan, carefully choosing what to plant, nurturing each seed with attention, and removing obstacles to growth. At the end of the season, the first garden is chaotic and underwhelming, while the second flourishes beautifully. Similarly, life responds to intention. When we act consciously and purposefully, the results are richer, more vibrant, and deeply fulfilling. Acting with intention also requires self-reflection. We must regularly ask ourselves, are my choices aligned with my values? Am I acting out of fear, habit, or expectation, or am I acting from my deepest beliefs and desires? Without this reflection, it is easy to drift into a life that feels empty or misaligned. Intentional living is not about perfection, it's about awareness and deliberate action. Even small, conscious choices like offering genuine kindness, speaking up for what is right, or investing time in growth compound over time to create a life that leaves no space for regret. Another essential aspect of intentional living is prioritization. Life is full of distractions, endless tasks, and competing demands. When we act without intention, we allow the urgent to overshadow the important. But when we live consciously, we choose where to invest our time and energy. We invest in relationships, growth, purpose, and experiences that truly matter, instead of being pulled in directions that don't serve our soul. Intentional choices keep us anchored, guiding us toward meaningful outcomes rather than leaving us with what ifs at the end of the day. Ultimately, living with intention transforms the way we experience life. It makes every moment an opportunity to align with our highest self. It gives clarity in chaos, courage in uncertainty, and direction in the midst of endless choices. When we act intentionally, We live fully in the present, honor our values, and make decisions that reflect who we truly are. And in doing so, we build a life so rich in purpose and authenticity that regret finds no place to settle. Courage is often misunderstood. Many people think courage is about heroic acts, grand gestures, or extraordinary feats. But in reality, courage is far more subtle and far more powerful because it lives in everyday choices. Courage is the willingness to face discomfort, uncertainty, and fear to do what is right, meaningful, or necessary. It is the quality that prevents regret because it pushes us to act instead of standing frozen on the sidelines of life, watching opportunities pass by. Fear, on the other hand, is the silent thief of dreams. It disguises itself in many forms: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. It whispers in your ear, "Wait, not now. Maybe later. It's too risky." And if we listen too closely, life begins to slip through our fingers. Days turn into weeks, months into years, and we realize too late that the moments we avoided acting on are the very moments that could have changed everything. Fear doesn't just prevent action, it creates regret. And regret, as we know, is far more painful than failure because failure at least gives us a story of effort and courage. We learn, we grow, we evolve. Regret, in contrast, leaves us with silence, questions, and a haunting "what if?" Embracing courage does not mean that fear disappears. Even the bravest people feel fear. The difference is that they act in spite of it. Courage is stepping into the uncomfortable, speaking the truth when silence is easier, taking the first step toward a dream when doubt is overwhelming, or making a difficult choice that aligns with your values rather than your comfort. It is in these small acts of bravery that life transforms. Every time you choose courage over fear, you build resilience, self-confidence, and freedom from regret. Consider this. Imagine a person who dreams of starting a small business, writing a book, or traveling to a distant land. Fear whispers, "What if you fail? What if you are laughed at? What if it doesn't work?" And many people listen. They wait, hesitate, and convince themselves it's not the right time. Years later, they look back and realize the dream remains unfulfilled, and the regret of never trying weighs heavier than any temporary failure could have. Courage, however, would have prompted them to take a step to try to embrace risk. Even if they stumbled or failed, the story they could tell themselves would be one of action, learning, and boldness, not of hesitation and lost opportunities. Courage also applies to relationships and communication. In the "how often do we avoid expressing love, gratitude, or forgiveness because it feels risky or vulnerable?" How often do we stay silent when speaking up could make a difference? Life is full of moments where courage is required, not to fight battles, but to connect, heal, and act authentically. These are the moments that, if ignored, create lifelong regret. But if approached with bravery, they deepen our bonds, restore trust, and leave a legacy of honesty and love. Finally, embracing courage is a practice, not a one time act. Every day presents tiny opportunities to be brave, to face a fear, speak your mind, take a step toward a goal, or make a difficult choice. Each act compounds in the building a life where regret has no place to settle. Courage frees us from the chains of hesitation, opens the door to possibility, and allows us to live fully. In essence, the life rewards those who are willing to step forward, even when the path is uncertain, because it is better to face fear and act than to let fear define the story of your life. One of the most common sources of regret in life is the love we failed to express and the appreciation we withheld. We often assume that people know how much we care for them or that we'll have another chance to show it. But the truth is, life is unpredictable, and the people we love are not guaranteed to be around tomorrow. In there, words left unsaid and feelings left unexpressed often become the heaviest burdens we carry. Expressing love and appreciation is not just a kind act, it is an investment in a life without regret, a way to fill every moment with meaning and connection. Think about the simplest moments in life: a compliment to a colleague, a thank you to a parent, a hug for a friend, or a heartfelt "I love you" to a partner. These small acts may seem ordinary in the moment, but they ripple far beyond what we can see. Often, these expressions of care and gratitude are remembered long after the moment has passed, providing warmth and reassurance to both the giver and the receiver. Yet so often, we let fear, pride, or procrastination keep us silent. We think, they already know I love them, or I'll tell them later, and later sometimes never comes. This is the root of so many regrets. Expressing love and appreciation requires presence and courage. It requires being fully aware of the people around you and choosing to invest in those relationships intentionally. Life can be busy, chaotic, and demanding, and it is easy to overlook the opportunity to pause and show gratitude. But imagine the difference it makes if you consciously make the effort to acknowledge someone's kindness, recognize their contribution, or simply let them know they matter. These moments create deep emotional connections that cannot be measured by material success, and they leave a lasting imprint on both your life and theirs. Relationships, in particular, are highly vulnerable to regret when love and appreciation are postponed. How many friendships have faded, marriages strained, or family bonds weakened because we assumed there would always be another chance to say what needed to be said? Time is the most unforgiving factor in life. People age, circumstances change, and opportunities to express love are often lost forever. By speaking and showing appreciation today, we prevent the pain of looking back and wondering what could have been. Moreover, expressing love and gratitude is not only about others, it transforms us internally. When we focus on gratitude and kindness, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from complaints to appreciation, from disconnection to connection. By consciously choosing to express care, we cultivate joy, compassion, and fulfillment in our own hearts. We realize that life is richer when it is shared, and that meaningful relationships are built through consistent, intentional acts of love and acknowledgement. Consider a simple story. A young man once delayed telling his mentor how much he appreciated their guidance, thinking he had time. Years later, when the mentor passed away, he realized he had never expressed the gratitude that had shaped his life. That regret stayed with him forever. Contrast this with another person who makes it a habit to regularly acknowledge and thank the people who matter, whether through words, gestures, or thoughtful actions. Their life is filled with fewer what-ifs and more warmth, satisfaction, and meaningful connections. Ultimately, expressing love and appreciation is about seizing the present moment and ensuring that no meaningful interaction is left incomplete. If it is about breaking through fear, pride, and procrastination to speak and act from the heart. Every word of gratitude, every hug, every kind gesture is a thread that weaves a life free from regret and full of connection, love, and fulfillment. Life is too short to leave love unsaid. When you express it today, you invest in a lifetime of peace and joy. One of the deepest sources of regret in life is unresolved conflict. Most of the time, the pain we carry is not from the mistakes we made, but from the relationships we allowed to remain broken. Misunderstandings, arguments, and hurt feelings create invisible walls between us and the people we care about. If left unaddressed, these walls harden and the what if questions begin to haunt us. What if I had said sorry? What if I had forgiven? What if I had tried harder? These unspoken words and withheld acts of reconciliation are what fill the heart with regret over time. Apologizing is one of the simplest yet most courageous acts we can perform. It requires humility, self-reflection, and the willingness to admit that we are not perfect. Saying, "I'm sorry," is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of emotional strength. It acknowledges that our actions or words may have hurt someone else and demonstrates respect for the relationship above our ego. Too often, pride keeps us from apologizing. We convince ourselves that we were right, that it's not a big deal, or that the other person will eventually forgive us on their own. But life moves quickly, and people do not wait forever. By delaying apologies, we leave unfinished emotional business that can turn into lasting regret. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is equally important and equally courageous. Holding on to anger, resentment, or grudges may feel like protection, but it quietly steals our peace and joy. Forgiveness is not about excusing the other person's actions. It is about freeing ourselves from the burden of negative emotions. It allows us to move forward with clarity, love, and a sense of completion. When we forgive, we open the door to healing, understanding, and restored relationships. We also teach ourselves that life is bigger than our pride, and that peace of mind is worth more than being right. Consider this scenario. Two friends have a falling out over a misunderstanding. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and eventually years. Each passes silently, feeling justified but also uneasy. Deep down, both wish they could go back, apologize or forgive, but pride and stubbornness hold them back. When they finally meet again, the opportunity to heal may still exist, but the years of lost connection are gone forever. Now imagine the same scenario if one person had gathered the courage to apologize and the other to forgive. The relationship could have been strengthened rather than strained, and regret would have been replaced by growth and deeper connection. Apologizing and forgiving are not just about relationships with others. They are acts of self-care as well. Carrying unresolved guilt or resentment weighs heavily on the heart. It creates emotional clutter, clouds our judgment, and diminishes our capacity for joy. By addressing conflicts proactively, we free our minds and hearts, allowing us to engage fully with life and the people who matter most. Every apology spoken and every forgiveness granted is a brick removed from the walls that block love and happiness. Ultimately, life is too short to let unresolved conflict define our relationships. Regret grows when we leave wounds untreated and when we allow fear, pride, or stubbornness to prevent reconciliation. By choosing to apologize and forgive, we not only heal relationships, but also cultivate inner peace, emotional resilience, and a life without lingering. What ifs? Healing broken relationships is one of the most profound ways to ensure that when we look back, we feel gratitude and connection rather than sorrow and regret. Dreams are the heartbeat of life. They give us direction, fuel our passions, and inspire us to rise above routine and mediocrity. Yet, one of the most common regrets people carry is the life they could have lived if only they had pursued their dreams. We often wait for the perfect time to start, convincing ourselves that circumstances, finances, or readiness are not aligned, but life rarely waits for perfection. Dreams that are postponed indefinitely become memories of what could have been. And those unpursued aspirations are the silent architects of regret. Pursuing your dreams requires courage, focus, and action. It requires moving beyond comfort zones, taking calculated risks, and embracing uncertainty. Many of us fear failure, ridicule, or rejection, and these fears keep us anchored in safe but unfulfilling routines. Yet the truth is, failure is not the enemy. Inaction is. Every dream left dormant is an opportunity lost, a potential unrealized, and a chance for growth denied. When we act on our dreams, even imperfectly, we set in motion a chain of experiences, lessons, and achievements that bring us closer to fulfillment. Imagine someone with a passion for writing, always dreaming of publishing a book, but never starting because they fear criticism or doubt their abilities. Years pass, life responsibilities pile up, and the manuscript remains in a drawer. Later, when they reflect on their life, they realize the regret of not pursuing their passion is heavier than the imagined embarrassment of failure. In contrast, someone who begins writing, even with imperfection, experiences the joy of creation, the thrill of progress, and the satisfaction of pursuing something meaningful. success is not guaranteed, but fulfillment is, because the person acted in alignment with their dreams. Pursuing dreams also requires prioritization and deliberate effort. Life is full of distractions, and without focus, dreams can remain abstract ideas rather than concrete realities. It's not enough to wish for something. Action is necessary. This action may start small, an hour a day dedicated to learning, practicing, or creating, but consistency compounds. Each step taken toward a dream, no matter how small, builds momentum and transforms vision into reality. The fear of starting is often far greater than the reality of progress, but moving forward, even imperfectly, gradually dissolves fear and replaces it with confidence and achievement. Another important aspect of pursuing dreams is understanding that setbacks are part of the journey. Challenges, failures, and obstacles are inevitable, but they do not define the outcome unless we allow them to stop us. The greatest success stories often begin with repeated failures, moments of doubt, and periods of struggle. Each setback is a lesson, an opportunity to refine skills, gain perspective, and strengthen resilience. Pursuing a dream with courage and persistence is a way of taking control of one's life, rather than letting regret dictate the narrative. Finally, pursuing dreams is not just about personal achievement. It is about living authentically. Dreams are expressions of our deepest desires, talents, and purpose. When we act on them, we honor our true selves, leave a meaningful legacy, and inspire others to do the same. A life lived in pursuit of passion is rich, vibrant, and fulfilling. Conversely, a life spent waiting, hesitating, or postponing is often accompanied by the quiet, knowing pain, what if? In essence, chasing dreams is the antidote to regret. By taking calculated risks, committing to action, and embracing both success and failure as part of the journey, we ensure that when we look back, we see a life fully lived rather than opportunities left behind. Every step toward a dream is a step toward freedom, fulfillment, and a life that resonates with purpose. Mindfulness and presence are two of the most overlooked yet powerful tools in living a life without regret. Too often, we allow our minds to drift into the past or the future, replaying mistakes, worrying about what could go wrong, or imagining scenarios that may never happen. In doing so, we miss the only moment we truly have, the present. Life unfolds moment by moment, and if we are not fully present, we lose the richness, beauty, and potential of today. Regret grows when we fail to live consciously in the now, because the past cannot be changed, and the future is uncertain, but the present is where our power lies. Practicing mindfulness means paying full attention to what is happening right now, with curiosity and without judgment. It is noticing the subtle details of your surroundings, the emotions you are feeling, and the people you are interacting with. It is about savoring the morning sunlight, feeling the texture of a handshake, listening deeply to someone who speaks to you, and appreciating the simple moments that life offers every day. When we cultivate this awareness, we start to realize how often we take the present for granted. We see how precious each interaction, each thought, and each breath truly is. Presence also helps us release the burden of the past. Many regrets come from dwelling on mistakes, missed opportunities, or failures. Our minds replay these moments endlessly, magnifying guilt, shame, or disappointment. While reflection can be useful, obsessing over the past traps us in a cycle of negativity. Mindfulness offers a way out by teaching us to acknowledge what has happened, accept it without resistance, and then return our focus to what we can influence, the present. By being fully engaged in the current moment, we prevent the past from defining our happiness or dictating our choices. Equally important is the role of presence in reducing anxiety about the future. We spend countless hours imagining problems that may never materialize, worrying about outcomes beyond our control, and planning for scenarios that may never occur. This constant mental projection creates stress and distracts us from acting intentionally today. Mindfulness anchors us in reality, reminding us that the future is shaped by what we do now. Every thoughtful decision, every act of kindness, and every step toward our goals happens in the present, and it is through consistent presence that we build a life free from regret. Practicing presence also deepens relationships. When we are fully attentive, we listen without judgment, speak with sincerity, and engage with empathy. People feel valued and heard when we offer our complete presence, and those connections strengthen trust, understanding, and love. In contrast, divided attention, checking phones, thinking about work, or drifting mentally creates subtle disconnects that can accumulate into regret over time. By being present, we nurture the bonds that matter most and ensure that the moments we share are meaningful and remembered. Finally, mindfulness transforms how we experience life. It teaches us gratitude for the ordinary, joy in simple actions, and peace in moments of stillness. It allows us to see clearly, act consciously, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When we live with awareness and presence, our actions are aligned with our values, our relationships deepen, and the weight of regret diminishes because we are actively participating in life rather than letting it pass us by. In essence, anchoring yourself in the present is a choice to fully live, fully love, and fully act today. Mindfulness is not a luxury, it is a necessity for anyone who wants to prevent regret, embrace life, and find true fulfillment. By practicing presence, we reclaim our time, energy, and peace of mind, creating a life rich in meaning and free from the burden of what could have been.